If you were an intelligent alien civilization,
Oh boy.
and you came about Earth, how would you interact with it? Can you put yourself in the mind of an alien civilization? Because there seems to be some parallels here.
It is actually, you're right. It's like a microcosm of...
We're very aggressive. Human civilization is very aggressive. So if we're easily, we get threatened easily.
Yeah.
For stupid reasons, because we start, like, American military probably thinks it's like the Chinese or the Russians. If we see any kind of flying objects, they get very on edge.
I don't know. I mean, because, part of it is like, you just want to ask, like, that's the thing. I just want to ask questions.
Yeah, but you don't know the same language.
You're gonna get. First of all,
you send a boat of bananas.
You send a boat of bananas, you get shot. I mean, picture if aliens landed in New York, how long would it take for one of them to get shot? It'd be minutes. It'd be a matter of minutes.
Yeah, that's because it's New York. Everywhere else,
look where we are right now.
Yeah. That's true. It'd be even worse here. Yeah, but it makes me wonder what is the right way to interact with intelligent life that's not like our own. I dream of, in our lifetime, we would interact with possibly life on Mars or on one of the moons of Jupiter or Saturn. Yeah. And like, how do you interact with that thing? Well, there's very technical biological and chemical processes, but also if there's any kind of intelligence, how do you try to communicate with that intelligence?
Yeah, so we're not talking about like a cockroach. We're talking about like something that's clearly like doing things, making things.
Or cockroach, possibly. How do you know the difference between a cockroach? Like, how do you know? We were just talking about
like
this with elephants.
Yeah.
We don't know. We have...
Just like a race of like philosopher cockroaches just chilling on the rocks.
Well, here on Earth, there seems to be a strong correlation between size and intelligence. Like...
Yes.
It seems like the bigger things have bigger nervous systems and brains, and so they're usually smarter. But that doesn't...
I think it's brain... It's the ratio, brain to body.
Sure.
Because you have like crows.
Yeah.
That are up among the most intelligent. And it's like the size of the brain to the size of the body.
But there also could be kinds of intelligence
we have no idea.
We're not appreciating. Maybe cockroaches. They've survived the longest. They're talking shit about us right now. It's dumb humans.
They're like, dude.
These
rocks are so great.
A couple of 100 years. Exactly.
Did you ever hear that Kurt Vonnegut where the two space travelers get lost? This really impacted me as a kid because my dad was an English teacher, so he's always quoting Dostoevsky and Kurt Vonnegut. And there's this two space travelers get like crash landed in a cave, and on the walls of the cave are the harmoniums. And these kite-shaped animals, and they feed off the vibrations of the cave. And that's all they do. They don't hurt each other. They just do that. And so for like 2 years, these travelers are stuck, and they're trying to fix their ship. And one of them starts playing music for the harmoniums. And the harmoniums love him for the music. And they all come around him, and he plays this music for them. And finally, they fix the ship. And the one guy is like, all right, let's get out of here. And the other guy's like, you know what? I'm staying. He goes, I found a place where I can do good. I'm not hurting anybody, and they love me.
Yeah.
I'm staying right here.
Yeah, this whole ambition thing we got going on, always trying to build a bigger boat, bigger thing. That might not be the ultimate conclusion of a happy existence as a civilization. That's one of the possibilities why we haven't met the aliens yet at scale. It's because once you get good enough at technology, you realize that happiness lies in a peaceful coexistence. It's possible.
So where do you stand on like aliens now? Like there's a lot coming out about the pilots and the things people have been seeing. And again, like I kind of come in and out of this stuff. Like I'll be in the jungle for 3 months. I miss a lot. So like update me. Like, or are we being contacted right now? Like,
of course, nobody knows, but I tend to believe my intuition says there's aliens everywhere. That even our galaxy.
Sure.
That's a bigger leap, but I believe our galaxy has probably billions, hundreds of millions of planets with life on it, like bacteria type of life.
Sure.
And I believe there's, I don't know, thousands of intelligent alien civilizations that exist or have existed. The problem is there's a lot of time. and it's very difficult to contact each other. So to achieve a kind of civilization that's able to actually send out enough signal or radiate enough energy where we would notice, I think that's really tough. That said, statistically speaking, it seems like that should have been possible inside our galaxy or maybe nearby. And so I suspect that once an alien civilization is just many orders of magnitude smarter than us humans, the way it would contact us is going to be very difficult for us humans to understand. We're very egocentric. We want the message to be sent as like in English versus, I think consciousness itself, emotion, thoughts could be like fingertips, could be words in the story that the aliens are telling us, or things that are just like a low dimensional projection of a much higher dimensional message that's being sent by aliens. And it may be our striving to create technology is to create the kind of sensor that's actually able to hear some of the message. Maybe that's what AI is trying to do. So I think that bridging that barrier of communication between us and cockroaches, I think that's the biggest challenge.
Interesting.
Like the messages are all around us. They're here. I suspect the alien messages are here. The aliens are here. We're just too dumb to see it.
So, first of all, the imagining planets where there are, like, just picturing like not a silent planet, but just like a planet of alternate life forms. Maybe it's not something that we can communicate and have a conversation with, but just like a planet of like butterflies and centipedes and weird,
unfortunately,
things.
bacteria for billions of years, it was bacteria as single cell prokaryotes and eukaryotes, but they're boring. But
animals of some sort in an environment of some sort. Imagine that would just be such an interesting, beautiful, amazing thing. And I'm sure they're out on that.
The kind of viruses they got going on.
Whoa.
It's but they could also not be biologically based. They could be different chemistry, so you have to be humble to that too.
Sure.
But then, it depends on the day. Like, I think you caught me on that day today, an optimistic one. Sometimes I think that this is all there is, because you ask that question, the Fermi paradox, like, why aren't they here? You can't imagine an advanced alien civilization that would not be explorers, because we're explorers.
Why is that depressing to you? That the idea that let's just say you found out right now that there isn't anything else. Let's just say that for example's sake, that the Earth is the Earth and the universe is the universe, and it's sort of like the backdrop of a video game, and it's just what's out there. Would that be tremendously depressing to you?
I think it's exciting for an engineer. It's probably exciting for an explorer, but I would equate that to your going out hiking for 3 days with one match. It kind of terrifies me that we only got one match.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. All you got is one match. No. Hold on a second.
Wait,
Paul, wait a minute. You're going out. There's no more matches.
But
this is the only match
no
you
one's
got.
going to extinguish the planet. Like, there's not, as far as we know, there's no meteor coming. I'm saying, like, do you live in a? So I'm saying, is your worry then that we need to have a backup plan?
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
So, like, what if we do mess it up so bad that we can't live here anymore?
Well, there's different ways to mess it up. There's ways to mess it up to make life really difficult.
Some of the Mad Max type of thing.
But there's nuclear war.
Yes.
With further and further advancement of technology that can destroy all of Earth, it just feels like that's going to be exponentially growing.
Yes, it's going to get worse.
And it's listen, I'm very optimistic, but it's a heck of a Russian roulette we're playing.
Okay, but I'm still curious about your intention though, or like where your passion for this comes from. Or maybe it's both, but is it the need to have a backup plan for humans, which is admirable for your intense love of humanity and our consciousness and love and art and everything, or is it also just that the raw fascination of imagining what's out there? Because I just the way you said that about like, oh, you caught me on a positive day, where I think there was something in there that made me think that you need there to be.
Yeah. There's. I think I'm the kind of person that sees beauty in everything, but to me, a universe full of diverse life is more beautiful than one where it's just humans. It's just the Earth life.
Interesting.
There's more beauty. I mean, I'm not egotistical about the awesomeness of humans. I like if humans are not the smartest in our galaxy, or not even close to being the smartest, and that to me is, I don't know, that to me is exciting about the possibility of what the universe can create.
Yes, I'm with you on that. That it's wildly exciting to like, if we found, even if it was just a distant inkling, that we
Yeah.
found out that there is a planet that has life. There's no communication coming from it, but we know for a fact
Yeah.
that there's stuff going on there. It would just change
Yeah.
how we think about our entire reality. We know now.
And it could be, to me, I guess, the little inkling of a thing that is depressing. If all there is Earth, and humans destroy it, then we're the coolest thing that the universe has ever created. And it's over.
I'm interested to have this conversation. I'm saying, like, I would be interested to bring you to the jungle.
Yeah.
And this, I like, now I'm also wondering. I'm wondering like what your wilderness experience is, because I feel like for me, I'm so earth centric to the point where I'm like, we differ in that. For me, this is like, it's a curiosity. I feel wonder, and I feel it's fun to talk about like what's at the edge of space. Like, there's the conundrums of space time, and but I'm so, to me, I'm like, what if the aliens are watching us, or what if the aliens aren't watching us? But what if the challenge here is we've been put on Earth as the most intellectually complex of these creatures, and we're being observed to see how we manage it. And it's like,
Yeah.
we haven't made a good job of managing each other. Before Oriana went down the Amazon, I mean, they showed up and just sacked the Incas. I mean, our history, I mean, I don't have to tell you, you just got back, but it's, I just, sometimes I wonder, what is there a grand narrative with what we're doing to wildlife? Because it's like, we have all these other species, and we're struggling even here in this conversation to sort of quantify, like, and I think that most people don't think outside of the human framework. You know what I mean? Like, just driving around, for me, living outside of the jungle, even just for a few weeks, I get, you don't even think about the fact that there's other species around us. We really don't, day to day. You look at TV and you listen to the radio, and it's not very consequential to the average person living in a city that there are these, islands covered in walruses, and that there's rainforests filled with birds and frogs and all these things happening, and that, the salmon are contributing to our fresh water, and that life is literally given to us and made possible by these ecological systems. To me, that's where like the whole, essence of my existence comes from. And so, like,
Yeah, thank you for that reminder, because you're basically saying like the alien civilizations you dream about are here on Earth. Those worlds are here.
for me, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think I agree with you, and I think that's actually the way I think most of the time. I think I'm on mushrooms all the time, genetically somehow, because when I go out in nature, it's just the beauty, even of nothing. You talk about the Amazon, man, just basics of nature.
Yeah.
Fill me with awe.
Yeah.
The other thing that fills me with awe is our own mind, like the biology of these things firing. Basically, not our own mind, but biology of any living organisms, because it's like an ecosystem. These cells came together. They somehow function. They delegate. They mostly operate in a local way, but they first of all, it's just like you said with the anacondas. You start out as a tiny snake and you become giant. When you're a tiny snake, you're prey for everything. When you're a giant snake, you're a predator or you're prey to no one.
Yeah.
And like just that whole process, same starting with a single embryo, single cell as a human, and through the embryogenic process, constructing this giant human that's able to have limbs, move about the world, think about things, write books, and so on. Just that is incredibly beautiful, and all of that is here on Earth. Yes, and so actually, I was being sort of poetic about aliens and so on. I think I can spend 99.99% in terms of filling my mind with awe and beauty, just looking down here on Earth. For sure, I agree with you.
Yeah, and they shouldn't cancel out. Like I think it's beautiful that there's people that are fascinated and obsessed with looking out into space, and that will travel there. I mean, just to me, the idea of, I mean, I have a little piece of meteorite at home that I hold, and it does amazing things to my mind because I'm like, everything I've ever touched is from this Earth, and I'm holding this thing that's been places that we can't even think about, and it blows my mind, and I love it. But when it comes to like intelligence, I think it's like I'm so concerned with the fact that we're at this moment in history. And it's interesting to me that, you know, we had the internet, and now that with the emergence of AI, and more I feel like we are starting to resemble like an ant colony where there's more and more connection and there's more and more interaction globally between everybody. In the next 10 years, we're going to have to decide, are we going to let our ocean ecosystems just collapse? Are we going to just take that 3% of rainforest and just let them log the shit out of it until it's gone? And it's like, we're going to be in a very different reality then. Then it's going to be a very dystopian future. Or can we keep the good things about Earth, transcend that, realize that we have these incredible alien species around us that are animals that we grew up with, that we wouldn't be here without, that we owe something to? And I feel like at that stage, then the outward look becomes something else. It's almost like we've proven. Then if aliens came up to us, that's when I'd feel good. Aliens would come up to us and they said, you know, Louis has the thing where he goes, God comes back and he goes, what did you do? He goes, the polar bears are brown. He's like, I left food for you. It's like, if the aliens came and were like, you know, and they interviewed the elephants and they said, how are you feeling? And the elephants would be like, listen, fuck these little primates. Yeah. You know what they've done to us? And it's like, I mean, you know, I've seen people break an elephant. I've seen it all with that stuff. And it's like, if anybody was to ask them, they'd be screaming. And so, like, to me, it's just, you know, I have trouble looking out into space. I have trouble looking out into normal life as a human because I'm so concerned with trying to make sure that they're okay, because not enough people are doing that.